Okay, so you see that delete? It left a little debris. And now I'm going to use that refine edge selection. And it will remember all my settings. It takes a little while to reset it, and it will take off that last little bit of edge. And you can try this on fur as well, but it tends to gloss over any spikiness. And there it is. And you can only really tell the difference up close, but that you'll be able to tell that in prints as well. So it cuts it off with more softness. And then I can just lasso around these last bits. And just like with the buffalo hide, sometimes you just want to embrace some dirtiness, some chaos, to help make it look a little less perfect. And that helps its believability. So if I tried to erase all these edges out just with my eraser and by hand, it would just be a nightmare. So careful use of selection tools will really improve your process. And remember, I can be really freewheeling on this because I've got the body and the skeleton working. This is just decoration now, dressing it up. So let's see what those two elements look like together. And now this is what I wanted to show. I've got two elements I really like that I've spent a lot of time cutting out. So how do I make the most of them? Well, just like with our shape exercise, I can duplicate them, copy paste, but you don't want them to ever look the same. So I'm going to flip the orientation of them. I'm going to warp them. This is what's great about organics. Change their orientation, change what's showing. You know, I'm going to move this one behind. Maybe even behind the head and horns, right? And then this one, if I move it in front, oh, I like how that looks. And I can take even a big chunk of it a foreground chunk of it, like so. Duplicate that, Command J, and then move that independently. And maybe move that in front of the rest. Tilt it at a different angle. It's all about shape, right? What impact do you want it to have? So maybe dripping between these antlers. And then I can warp that. So copy and pasting is fine, but when they're recognizable as individual units from different places, that's not okay. You know, that you just use the same thing in different places. That will not look very professional. And then you can erase away. Again, like the buffalo hide, safe knowing that you have something underneath that works. Looks so dressed up. All right. Now let's see what I can do with a duplicate of this piece here. Different size, flipped horizontally. So it's lit differently, oriented a little differently, pushed behind. And then maybe selectively cut out, duplicated and pushed above. A little fireworks display. And then selectively erased out. Depending on the texture, even just taking down the opacity like I did, that might be enough to give the illusion that you're looking for. Kind of like that. And then I can use this little cutout piece, duplicate that, move it over. Not only can I change its orientation, its size, flip it vertically, flip it horizontally, I can change its color and its lighting slightly. These organic textures are so forgiving. So how do I do that with levels? I'm going to brighten it up a little bit, deepen its shadows. And then selectively erase out. Let some of these antlers come in front. Not all of them. Let's see how that's looking. Yeah. All right. So it's definitely feeling full of foliage now. And there's little things that can be improved, but I'm going to leave that now. I get enough of the hint of the antlers and then a lot of that shape and color that I want. So now how do I help out my Photoshop program? I'll have all this extra space I no longer need. I'm going to crop it down to contain the full creature, head to toe. Not too tight, but save all that extra memory. So that Photoshop can run a little bit easier. And now I still want to leave everything in layers, but now I want to clean up the edges and work on problem areas. Because as separate layers, I can play with their color and their levels and their lighting and their dodging and burning all separately, which is very, very helpful. If I merge them all together, as soon as I erase, they're just all gone. You know, it's all just one grid of pixels. And I want to stay focused on the shapes. Okay. Now just to see, I'm tempted to put this one in me just see really quick how easy that would be. So I love that explosion. I love the silhouette here. Duplicate that out. But you have to limit your ambition sometimes to fit a deadline. But look how fast I can do it if it all works out. So select those shapes. All good. And now hit refine edge, follow those settings, delete. And now I can push it back somewhat. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I like how it breaks up those horns, so I'll leave it there and then I'll just erase it out selectively. Now that's a little bit pinker than the rest, so this is how you can start making colors match. And of course I can also play with warping its shape a little bit and customizing it. Really get the most out of that silhouette. So you go to image adjustments, these are called direct adjustments, and I'm going to play this time with the color balance. And I'm just going to shift it from magenta a little bit to the greens and from the cyans. I don't want to move it red, I actually want it to go more here, but I want to add more yellow into it so it kind of matches those reds a little bit better. Highlights, I usually have to push them both ways to kind of see what works. And I want to take a lot of that magenta out, so I'll be pushing a lot into the greens there, especially in the shadows, to help it sit back. And I can do that with these other features too. Sometimes all it takes is color balance to bring it out a little bit. So my usual trick is to cool the shadows and to warm the highlights. But these highlights are already so warm. It seems to help just to cool everything off a little bit. So these are quick, now that you have pieces cut out completely, just quick adjustments, direct adjustments affecting the pixels. And this is color, not lighting. This is making the color temperatures match, so I can warm those up. Yeah, that looks nice. Cool off the shadows. Get more dimension. Now, if you want to go crazy, you can go to hue saturation. You can actually change the hue. So if I wanted, yellow flowers here instead of the red, that can break it up nicely. I can intensify them a little, can darken them a little. The hue saturation actually changes the colors. Color balance changes the temperature of the colors, which helps give them more definition. I think I'll do that over here too. Help that yellow stand out. Hue saturation, change the actual hue. Darken it a bit. Desaturate it a bit. Actually brighten it maybe a little. Yeah. So really giving some impact now. So let's look at that history. Before I did any of that color balancing, all kind of blurs together. Now very distinct. So matching colors. That's also what I can do with the pelt here to kind of match those Clydesdale legs. If I wanted to deepen it, I could go to color balance